Wow, it's been a long time since I've worn lipstick. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today's date is November the 24th, and the local time right now in Denver is 3:25 p.m. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so you can tell by the title of this video what I will be talking about. But before we get further into the video, I am filming this video inside of a hotel bathroom. So I did rent a room because, guys, I have been wanting to do this video for a while, but I did not have the space nor the time. But I got time today, and I have space. And plus, look at this light. This light is beautiful. So I decided to film in this bathroom. So let's talk about misconceptions, okay? Guys, I've been a flight attendant as of the 28th of this month for 15 months. In my short span of being a flight attendant, I have heard many misconceptions about what a flight attendant is and what we do. So let's define the definition of what a misconception is. So a misconception is a view or opinion that is incorrect because based on faulty thinking or understanding. So that is what I will be talking about, guys. 10 misconceptions about flight attendants. Now, again, my goal is by the time this video ends, you have learned some things and maybe I can clear up a few rumors or, just kind of lay things out so people have a better understanding about my job. So let's get into this unit number 1 that I am rocking, guys. This is the hair, in case anybody asks me. And let's talk about the t-shirt. Yes, y'all, let y'all get into it. Let you guys see it. Make Sloppy Joes great again. All right, so without further ado, let's get into the video. Ooh, this one highly offends me. It is very disrespectful. And the reason why, because guys, flight attendants are so much more than a waiter or waitress in the air. Understand, in the air, we are medic. We are first aid. We are firefighters. If there is a bomb threat, a terrorist attack, if we have to do an emergency evacuation or landing, ladies and gentlemen, we are the ones who are there to save your life and to make sure everyone is safe on that aircraft. Understand that safety is the core of a flight attendant. It is the blueprint. Our training revolves around safety. Service is secondary to safety. Ladies and gentlemen, we do not go to training for all that time to learn how to serve you a Coke and a smile. No, ladies and gentlemen, we are there because we learn about safety. And speaking of service, I recall in training, we spent about, 30 minutes on service. I learned the items we sold, how to upsell or how to bundle, and that's it. We did not spend days on service. And y'all know my motto, I serve looks and not drinks. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart because I believe that. The only time in our service that I would ever serve a drink, technically, is if I was giving you coffee or water service. But other than that, guys, this is how my service operates at my airline. I give you a cup that may or may not have ice because that is your choice. Then I give you a beverage that you purchase. It can be an adult spirit, water, juice, or soda. And I give it to you. So I assist in you serving yourself. Remember back in the day when you would go to a gas station, pull up, and somebody would come and pump gas in your car? Those days are over. Now they have self-service. So understand that, guys, we are so much more than that title of a waiter or waitress. Understand that we are safety professionals and nothing else. All right, and let's talk about this misconception. So, ladies and gentlemen, every airline has a minimum age requirement that you would need to meet to apply. What I'm talking about is an age limit for what is too old to stay as a flight attendant. Now, guys, back in the day, flight attendants were women who were young, unwed, no children. They had to be a certain height, a certain weight, and they had to retire at the age of 30 or 32. Well, guys, that no longer is the case. Those rules that were implemented back then no longer exist. Guys, if there was an age limit, I would be too old. You know, I started my journey last year and I am now 38. So that is the one thing I love about being a flight attendant, because guys, and again, 15 months that I've been doing this job, I've flown with people who are in their 50s, 60s. I just flew with someone not too long ago who is retiring, but he is 75 years old. The only age limit that I'm aware of is pilots and first officers. They have to retire at the age of 65. But as a flight attendant, if you can get through initial training, if you can do your job duties to the best of your ability, if you can pass recurrent training every year, then you can maintain and still be a flight attendant. Again, guys, look at me. I do not weigh 120 pounds, and I am way past the age of 30 or 32. So guys, one of my favorite movies that I love to watch is Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit. And there was a scene where Whoopi Goldberg's character, Sister Mary Clarence, and Lauryn Hill's character, Rita Watson, they had an exchange outside. Sister Mary Clarence was telling Rita Watson about a book, Letters to a Young Poet. And this guy was always writing this person saying, hey man, I want to be a writer. And this guy was saying, don't tell me about being a writer. If you wake up in the morning and the only thing you can think about is being a writer, then my friend, you are a writer. And I'm going to tell you the same thing. If you wake up in the morning and the only thing you can think about is being a flight attendant, well, ladies and gentlemen, you are a flight attendant. Be encouraged and pursue this career if you want to be a flight attendant. One thing my mom used to say, and may she rest in peace, she always read the Bible, but she would reference certain Bible verses. Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And she will further elaborate. She will say, not some things, but all things. And I'm going to tell you guys the same thing. No one can take this job from you or stop your blessing but God. Do not be discouraged because you think you are too old. You are never too old to be a flight attendant. But don't give up. Stay focused. And again, if you can do the job, you can be a flight attendant. So when I used to go on YouTube and do research about flight attendant pay, one thing I did not see were a lot of flight attendants who were transparent with how much money they made. And this was very big for me because I truly had a misunderstanding, ladies and gentlemen. When I had my phone interview and the recruiter was going over reserve life, you know, and she was saying if you are on reserve, you're going to get paid 75 hours. I thought it was every 2 weeks, but she was saying a month. I was just so excited that maybe I misunderstood that part. But my base pay at the time was like $19 and some change. So I'm calculating for $19 times 75 hours every 2 weeks when I was sadly mistaken. Why? Because guys, number one, on reserve, I get paid 75 hours a month, 37 and a half on the 5th, 37 and a half on the 20th, semi-monthly, right? And it's no secret, while on reserve, guys, even if I don't fly, they're gonna pay that to me, but that's really no money. And this is why I show you guys my paychecks. I think it's very important before you come into this career, you know exactly what you're signing up for. Of course, every airline is different with their reserve. Every airline is different as far as what they offer for pay. But you gotta know the difference between a flight hour and a regular hour. So a regular hour, as soon as you clock in, you're getting paid until the moment you clock out. For a flight attendant, we only get paid from when that main cabin door closes to when it opens. So when we are punching in prior to our trip, we're not getting paid. If there is a delay, we're not getting paid. Ground time, and you know ground time is between flights, we're not getting paid. As long as that main cabin door is open, we are not getting paid. And that's why flight attendants are always trying to shut that door as soon as possible, because that is when the clock starts for us. And again, guys, coming into this career, you have got to ask yourself, can you take a pay cut? Because it is going to be a pay cut in the beginning. This career is all about longevity. And what I mean is the more time you invest in an airline, the more benefits you will reap. So with my airline, Denver is our headquarters. It is the most senior base, okay? My airline has been in service for 26 years, just about. So a flight attendant who's been here for that long, they're making way more money than I'm making. They're probably topped out, right? They have a better schedule or better control of their schedule because of their seniority. That's when your patience come into play. You don't start this career making all this money, guys. You have to put in the groundwork and wait to reap the benefits that other people have put in. That's why I like being on reserve. Can I go to a different base and get a line? Of course I can. But while I'm on reserve, ladies and gentlemen, it humbles me. And this is why you guys, I tell you about me picking up and aggressively bidding for trips on my days on reserve and my days off, because I am increasing my revenue. And I know too many flight attendants who have made so many sacrifices and given up so much to come into this career only to quit in 6 months. And the main reason is money. So you gotta have money saved. You have to prepare, because again, guys, reserve is the toughest period of any flight attendant's life. And not all reserve is the same, but like I said, my paychecks, guys, I show for a reason, because I want you guys to understand how tough it is and how to survive with picking up and aggressively bidding. So again, in time, you will make money. But to think that flight attendants are rich, you're sadly mistaken. I think not everybody can be a flight attendant. This is false, guys, because it's a very tedious process. Many will apply, but only a few are chosen. Why? Because, guys, the more money an airline is offering, the harder it is to get employed by that airline. Because they want the top of the line. They want the creme de la creme. They're not accepting just anyone to represent their airline. They have a certain look, a certain personality, a certain image that they want to portray. Because when you are wearing that uniform, of course, you are representing that airline. And you have got to be patient. Some of these airlines, they do a phone interview, video interview. You'll have a face-to-face, and you might have to talk to 3 or 4 persons for an interview, and you may not make it past that. It's very tedious with the interview process. Then if you get that and you get a CJO, and I think a lot of people mistake a CJO as I made it. No, CJO, contingent job offer. Contingent, guys, that is the key word. You're basically on standby. Like when I list for a flight and I'm not paying, right? I am on standby, and they're saying, hey, you do not have a confirmed ticket. We acknowledge that you're trying to get on this flight, but guess what? If we don't have any open seats, you're not going to get on. And that's what a CJO is. You are on standby with that airline. They're trying to see, are you going to pass their training? And guys, training is not easy by any means. Training was so hard for me, guys. I haven't been in high school in about 20 years, right? Just about 20 years. And I had to go back to that test taking method of studying, and it was just a lot. Some airlines are different. My training was 3.5 weeks. Some airline is 8. Some is 6.5. You know, they're all different. And then we were in training for 6 days a week. God made the world in 6 days, and he rested on the Sabbath. Do you know what I was doing on the Sabbath? I was studying. Why? Because you'll have a subject you learn one day and you'll test on it the next day, guys. So there was no room to let my wig down. No, you had to be in your game when you were training, because again, I didn't come and sacrifice everything to be sent home. And that sometimes is what happens. That's why that CJO does not mean you have made it. And then understand with training, there is a grading percentage. Some will be 80% or better if you take a test, right? 90% or better, 95%. That's a factor. But in training, you're going to learn about airport codes, military time. You're going to learn the configuration of planes and the emergency equipment on that aircraft or the aircrafts that you use. You're going to learn about airline terminology. There is just so much, but training is so intense. And again, 3.5 weeks, guys, you're going to understand how stressful it was for me. Now, if you get past training, next you got your IOE, initial operating experience. So guys, if you pass that, that is when you are officially in, like, aha, I made it. But then you got to think about probation. My probation was 9 months, okay? And we all know December 19th of 2019, I got a UTC. It falls off next month on the 19th if I don't get any more points, right? I've been a good flight attendant, but all of this is stressful. So you got to remember that, guys. And you also have to remember that some airlines, it is extremely hard to even get an interview. And I'll give you an example. I saw a meme on Facebook about Delta Airlines, right? They said it's easier to get into Harvard than it is with Delta Airlines. Why? Delta Airlines, right, when they are hiring for flight attendants, they have over 100,000 applications a year. And out of that 100,000, maybe 1% will make it. At least Harvard, out of all the applicants, they take in 4.6%. That is crazy. Another airline, Southwest Airlines. My crash pad is ran by Southwest, and I always speak to the Southwest flight attendants about what was their journey, because I find it very interesting. Anytime Southwest is hiring for flight attendants, the moment it opens up, website crashes. You have some people who waited 2 years to get an initial phone interview, right? Or they were not hired 2 years after they got their CJO or been given a training date. So guys, I'm saying all this to say that it's not as easy as you think. Every airline is different, but if it was so easy, a lot more people would be flight attendants. And that's why you have a high turnover rate with some airlines, because it is extremely difficult. So keep that in mind. Yes, you can apply if you meet the basic requirements, but are you going to make it to the final to be America's Next Top Flight Attendant? I don't know. That's for you to find out. So minimum education to apply for an airline is a high school diploma or a GED. But just because that is the minimum requirement doesn't mean that all flight attendants fit into that category. Guys, I have met so many flight attendants who come from different walks of life, and that is the beauty of my job. I've met flight attendants who, prior to being a flight attendant, were doctors, lawyers, they were school teachers, they worked at Fortune 500 companies, they had their own business. There were a lot of people who gave up a lot to become a flight attendant, right? Some of these flight attendants have multiple degrees, speak multiple languages. Some of these flight attendants went to Harvard, went to Yale, went to an HBCU. You should never, ever judge somebody based on what they do. Yes, I have a high school diploma. I speak English, and that's it. But do we all fit into this category? No. Some people will say never judge a book by its cover. What I will say is never judge a person by their uniform. I can't speak for every flight attendant about this. I can only tell you from my point of view. Do I wake up in the morning and decide to have a bad attitude? No. Why? Because guys, that is not me. I am a positive person and I am bubbly and I always want to have a good flight. But what I've come to realize is that I think people get a flight attendant having a bad attitude when we try to enforce policy. It is amazing how I have a beautiful smile, my hair is gorgeous, or I have beautiful eyeshadow. But the moment I try to enforce any type of policy, I am everything but a child of God and I get backlash. Flight attendants, we get so much crap in the air when we are only trying to do our job. When a flight attendant tells you to put your bag underneath the seat, to put your tray table up, to recline your seat forward, to put your seatbelt on, or when we advise you, hey, the seatbelt sign is on, it's not safe to get up or move throughout the cabin or use the restroom, we get backlash. And I think that's where the misconception is. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, that these are all safety procedures and we are doing it to ensure your safety. What I've come to realize is that it took for a tragedy to happen for these new rules to be implemented. There is a reason why we ask you to do these things, because maybe a life was lost or lives were lost. And I'll give you a perfect example. 9/11. Post 9/11, you had more freedom on the aircraft. You were able to bring, I think, pocket knives. We didn't have so many security procedures with the cockpit door was open throughout the flight, right? You didn't have a limit to liquids of what you can bring, like it wasn't 2 or 3 ounces. After 9/11, we've made changes because of the tragedy. When a plane crashes, they have to investigate to determine what caused that plane to go down. And guys, changes are brought about when tragedy happens. And that's what I want people to understand, guys. As much as I love doing my job and I love joking with people, I mean, I can do a knock knock, who's there all day. But when it comes to my job, I take it very serious because I have your life in my hands. And to me, that's nothing to play about. And I really don't think my airline hired me because I wore fabulous wigs or because I have on a good color of eyeshadow. They hired me to enforce their company policies and to follow the guidelines of the FAA. So next time a flight attendant asks you to do something, put your mask over your nose and mouth, or for you to put your bags underneath the seat, guys, don't think we're there bossing you around or we have an attitude. We are simply trying to do our job, and we are trying to keep everyone safe, including you. Tupac wrote a song called I Get Around, featuring Digital Underground. And I think that people think it applies to flight attendants, but no, not us all. We all don't fit into this category. Now guys, I've worked many different professions. I worked at a call center, fast food, restaurant, a doctor's office. Scandal is in every profession, right? Do flight attendants mess around with pilots and first officers? Yes. Do flight attendants mess with other flight attendants? Yes. Guys, this does not exclude the aviation industry, but to think that is why we became a flight attendant or that is what every flight attendant is doing is wrong. Some of these flight attendants are married with families, or they have a partner, a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and they are faithful. Some of these first officers and pilots, that applies to them. I have worked with a flight attendant whose husband, same flight, was the captain. So they were husband and wife working the same trip, which is kind of weird because then that is her boss on that flight. But I am saying all that to say this is that not all of us are grouped into that category. It's no secret I am single. I have no children. I answer to no one but God. When I go over or when I go to different cities, I am looking for friends. What's wrong with friends? There is nothing wrong with friends. I think Houdini wrote a song, Friends, how many of us have them? Friends, ones we can depend on. What is wrong with friends? There's a whole sitcom called Friends. There's nothing wrong with that. I am a friendly person, baby, and I am single. Y'all don't see a ring at all, baby. So, again, do all flight attendants get down like me? No. But I have a rule. I do not play where I stay. I would never talk to someone who works for my airline. A different airline, yes. But guys, I did not become a flight attendant to try to get into the Mile High Club or to try to get with a pilot or first officer. If I can keep it all the way 100 with you, I meet more aviation employees on Bumble and Tinder than I do my own airline. I've never been approached by someone who works my job. Passengers, yes, and I wouldn't cross that line. But if that was what I wanted to do, guys, I don't need to be a flight attendant. They are on Tinder. They are on Bumble. They are on Hinge. They are on Plenty of Fish and other sites. So again, guys, not all flight attendants have different pros and area codes. This one does, but not all of us. Sheila E. wrote a song called The Glamorous Life. And in this song, she says she wants to lead a glamorous life. And see, a lot of people assume that flight attendants live a glamorous life. But ladies and gentlemen, not this flight attendant. The song that will best represent my life right now is Jay-Z's Hard Knock Life. And I'm just going to be honest with you, especially during this pandemic, boo, it is hard. And I am chasing those coins. Now, like most of you guys, okay, I did my research and I looked at many vloggers. You probably are seeing my vlogs. One thing I could not find, guys, is all sides of being a flight attendant. Most vloggers that I saw only showcase the glamorous life. And what I mean by that is they're taking trips, right, to all these countries, on the beach, crystal white waters, living in, or staying in one of the best hotels, drinking a pina colada with sand, and it's just like a whole glamorous life that may exist but not for all flight attendants. And guys, that is why on my channel I showed you all sides, the good, the bad, the ugly, because I want to make sure that you have all the research you need to make a sound decision and not being sold on just one part of this lifestyle, but get a sense for how it may go for you. Now, yes, every airline is different. Every airline has a reserve period that may be different from mine. But guys, being a flight attendant is a very lonely life. I live my life out of a suitcase. At 12:01 tonight, I go back on reserve. I have to make sure my bags are packed and ready to go. All my devices are charged. My uniform is laid out. Any food that I want to take with me is ready to go. And that my phone is charged and on loud. Why? Because crew scheduling can call me with a 2-hour call out and I have to go. That is the real life of a flight attendant, especially a flight attendant on reserve in my case. You gotta understand, guys, where I came from. I came from having my own place, own car, a good paying job with my immediate family and friends in Arizona. I left that to basically stay in a crash pad where I have no privacy, living paycheck to paycheck, don't have a vehicle, and I do not have my immediate family or friends in Denver. And that is what I want you guys to truly understand. This lifestyle may cause you to be away from your family, your loved ones, your spouse, your friends. This lifestyle will cause you to relocate to a different city for your airline. This lifestyle will cause you to take a financial cut, and you may have to make sacrifices. Are you prepared for that? And that is what you need to understand. Again, guys, being a flight attendant, I love my job. So this is what I want you guys to consider before being a flight attendant. Don't go with just one narrative about fancy vacations, nice hotels, and drinking on the beach. Think about all sides of it. What are you willing to risk for a career that you're chasing? That is the real question. This is more of a stereotype, but I also think it is a misconception. So I told you guys, we know back in the day, flight attendants were only women. Now in 2020, guess what? We have male flight attendants, if you haven't already seen. Now guys, it is highly offensive to group all male flight attendants into this category because it is not true. And see, I really don't care. I do not ask, nor do I inquire. I leave it as it is, guys, because I've met plenty of male flight attendants and I don't know. And again, I don't care. I just think it's highly offensive to classify all male flight attendants into that group. It's like asking a lady if she's pregnant or how far along is she when she's not pregnant at all. It's embarrassing. So this whole notion that there's no straight flight attendants, guys, is ignorant, and it's a stereotype that I wish would not exist because it offends those male flight attendants who like peaches. So don't assume that every male flight attendant like bananas, because we have some that like peaches. Just saying. Ooh, this is something I want to clear up. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a courtesy for a flight attendant to help you with your luggage. I tell this to passengers all the time. If it is heavy for you to pick up, how do you think it's going to be for me? Like, I'm already carrying 2 flotation devices. Now I'm going to try to injure myself by putting your heavy luggage in the overhead bin. No, boo, it doesn't work like that. Again, it is a courtesy. I've had passengers leave their bags in the aisle and go run off to their seat. And I'm like, oh, rewind, bring it back. What's going on here? Do you think we're just going to put your luggage up for you? Like, yes, I would be more than happy to assist in helping you put your luggage up. Assist. That means teamwork. You and I are going to do it together. But guys, as a flight attendant, we don't want to injure or throw out our backs, and that's why it is a courtesy. Now, I don't know if we get covered for that, because you got to think about it. While we are boarding, that main cabin door is open, and like I told you before, we do not get paid when that main cabin door is open. So technically, I'm not on the clock, even though we're boarding, guys, so we have to be very careful. I told you guys, my previous job, I worked in pain management. One thing I know, guys, is when you have a back injury, sometimes you never fully recover. And you might have to treat that back pain with opioids, physical therapy, go see a chiropractor, acupuncture, or treat it with green trees. You guys know what I'm talking about. Pain management, green trees. Or you may have to do injections. Well, those are the risks we take as flight attendants. All right, can we slip a disc? Can we injure ourselves where it might take us out of our job? Those are the risks we face, guys, because we don't wear a back brace. And in training, they don't teach us how to, like the ramp agents. They have a technique lifting with their legs to try to support their back. Again, that is not something we do. And I think this is a huge misconception. We do not have a problem helping a passenger with their luggage, but we also have to be safe so that we don't injure ourselves. So if it's too heavy, I'm not going to pick it up. I'll ask for help or someone else to do it, guys. But again, it is a courtesy not a requirement. Alright, and you have made it to the end of the video, guys, and I apologize if it is too lengthy, but I had a lot to say. So guys, let's have a discussion about the things that I talked about. If you have more misconceptions, if you are a flight attendant or a former flight attendant, or if you want to add, let's talk about it in the comment section. Please let me know what you think. What do you think about this unit, and what do you think about this t-shirt, guys? Again, I love you guys for supporting. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And guys, until my next video, whenever it might be, thank you again for supporting me. I love you guys so much, and you guys have a good night. Signing off from the bathroom in Denver. Bye.